Commander Sarah Chen stood before the towering quantum display, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic representation of yet another fallen Viridian outpost. The crystalline spires that once housed thousands of her people now floated as debris in the cold vacuum of space. The Void Hunters had struck again, their obsidian ships leaving only destruction in their wake. "How many survived?" she asked, her voice steady despite the weight pressing against her chest. 17, replied her second-in-command, Admiral Thex. His bioluminescent form pulsed with muted blues and grays, colors of mourning in Viridian culture. They managed to reach the emergency transport gates before the hunters breached the primary shields. 17 out of 4,000. Sarah's fingers curled into fists at her sides. The Viridian Coalition, once proud masters of quantum technology and stellar engineering, reduced to running and hiding. Their mighty cities, built from living crystal and pure energy, were falling one by one to an enemy that seemed unstoppable. The Void Hunters had appeared 18 months ago, emerging from the dark space between galaxies. They brought weapons that turned the Viridians' greatest strengths into weaknesses, technology that corrupted their quantum networks and toxins that crystallized their energy-based bodies. The Coalition's advanced defenses, which had protected them for millennia, proved useless against an enemy that evolved and adapted with terrifying speed. Sarah moved closer to the display, manipulating the holographic controls with practiced ease. As one of the few hybrid children born to human refugees and Viridian hosts, she possessed both the energy manipulation abilities of her Viridian parent and the physical form of her human ancestry. It made her unique and often lonely, but today it gave her an insight others might miss. "There's something different about this attack pattern," she muttered, zooming in on the debris field. "The hunters usually strike in perfect geometric formations, but look here." She highlighted several impact points that formed an irregular cluster. Admiral Thex floated closer, his form elongating to better examine the data. Imperfection in a Void Hunter attack. Impossible. Their hive mind ensures absolute coordination, unless something was interfering with their neural network, Sarah countered. She quickly overlaid the sensor data from the attack, and her breath caught. There, hidden beneath layers of quantum noise, was a signal she had never seen before. It pulsed with a primitive yet powerful rhythm, operating on frequencies so basic that most Viridian systems would have filtered it out as background radiation. This signal, it's coming from Sector 47. Her hands flew over the controls, bringing up the star charts. That's impossible. There's nothing out there except... She stopped, her eyes widening. "The Forbidden Zone," Thex finished, his form flickering with concern. "The quarantine system containing..." "Earth," Sarah whispered. Her human ancestors had fled there generations ago, when the Great Plague had threatened to wipe out humanity. The Viridians had granted them sanctuary, but kept Earth under strict quarantine, frightened by the humans' aggressive survival instincts and their ability to adapt to almost any environment. The signal pulsed again, stronger this time. It wasn't random noise, it was a pattern. A message, hidden in the simplest form of communication possible. Sarah's hands trembled as she began the decryption process. "Commander, we cannot risk contact with Earth," Thex protested. "The Council's laws are clear. They are too unpredictable, too dangerous. Their very biology is designed for constant warfare against their environment." Sarah turned to face him, her expression set with determination. "And what are we facing now, Admiral? An enemy that adapts to everything we throw at it. That turns our technology against us. Maybe we need unpredictable. Maybe we need dangerous." The decrypted message finally appeared in the air between them, simple text in an ancient human language that Sarah's implants translated automatically. "We see you. We see them. We can help. Humanity remembers its debts." Sarah stared at the words, feeling a strange mix of hope and fear. The Viridians had saved humanity once, offering them sanctuary when death seemed certain. Now, from their quarantined world, humanity was offering to return that debt, But could the coalition survive accepting help from a species they had deemed too dangerous to interact with? Another alert flashed across the display. 3 more Viridian colonies had gone dark. The Void Hunters were accelerating their attacks, growing bolder with each victory. Soon, there would be nowhere left to hide. "Prepare my ship," Sarah ordered, her decision made. "And get me a secure channel to the Council." "Commander, you cannot be serious." Fex's form pulsed with alarm. "Even if we wanted to contact Earth, the quarantine barriers are based on our quantum technology, which the Void Hunters can now bypass," Sarah interrupted. "We created those barriers to protect ourselves from humanity's volatile nature. But right now," she gestured to the graveyard of crystalline debris floating behind them. "Right now, we need volatile. We need the species that looked at a planet actively trying to kill them and said, 'This is home.'" As her ship prepared for departure, Sarah sent a coded response back along the primitive frequency. "Help accepted. Humanity's children are coming home." The message streaked across space, piercing the quarantine barriers with ease. Barriers designed to stop advanced technology, but helpless against such basic communications. As Sarah watched it go, she remembered the stories her human parent used to tell her, about a world where every day was a fight for survival, where humans had evolved not despite adversity, but because of it. The Void Hunters thought they were unstoppable because they could adapt to any weapon, predict any strategy. But they had never faced humans before. They had never encountered a species that turned adversity into advantage, that saw impossible odds as a challenge rather than a barrier. It was time to remind the galaxy why humanity had been quarantined in the first place. General Maya Santos stood in the United Earth Defense Council chamber, her weathered hands resting on the smooth surface of the holographic podium. Around her, representatives from every major Earth nation sat in tense silence as they reviewed the alien transmission. The message from the Viridian Coalition, their ancient benefactors and self-appointed wardens, played again in the air above them. 200 years, Maya spoke into the silence. 200 years since they gave us sanctuary, locked us away on our own world, and declared us too dangerous to join galactic society. Now they need that danger. Dr. James Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stepped forward. His dark eyes gleamed with barely contained excitement as he manipulated the holographic display. The Viridian data packet contains information about these Void Hunters. Their biological and technological capabilities are fascinating. He brought up a series of complex molecular structures. They use crystallization toxins, quantum disruption fields, and adaptive armor. Against the Viridians, it's devastatingly effective. But against humans? Admiral Chen Wei asked, leaning forward in his seat. The Chinese admiral's cybernetic eye whirred as it analyzed the data. James smiled. That's the beautiful irony. Everything that makes the Void Hunters lethal to the Viridians is either harmless or minimally effective against human physiology. Their crystallization toxins. Our carbon-based biology is immune. Quantum disruption. Our nervous systems are too primitive to be affected. Even their adaptive armor has a critical weakness. It's optimized for energy weapons, not kinetic impacts. Maya nodded slowly. We're not just resistant to their weapons. We're the perfect counter to them. The very reasons the Viridians quarantined us. Our aggressive immune systems, our ability to survive extreme conditions, our primitive biology, make us their ideal defenders. The chamber erupted in heated discussion. Some argued for isolation, saying Earth owed the Viridians nothing after centuries of containment. Others saw an opportunity to prove humanity's worth to the galactic community. The debate raged until a quiet voice cut through the chaos. "We go." The words came from Captain Diana Patel, commander of the experimental warship Prometheus. She stood, her prosthetic leg gleaming under the chamber lights. Not because we have to, not for revenge or glory, but because it's what humans do. We adapt, we survive, and we help others do the same. Maya felt a smile tug at her lips. Diana had lost her leg saving her crew during the Mars colony crisis, refusing evacuation until every civilian was safe. She embodied the best of what humanity had become during their isolation. Stronger, more resilient, but never losing their capacity for compassion. The Council voted. Earth would answer the call. Preparation moved with the efficiency of a species that had never lost its edge. The Prometheus and 5 other ships were retrofitted for deep space combat. Teams of engineers worked with quantum physicists to adapt human weapons technology for space warfare. Special Forces units trained in zero-gravity combat, their augmented bodies and enhanced reflexes pushing the limits of human capability. 3 weeks later, Maya stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching Earth shrink behind them as they approached the quarantine barrier. The ship's crew, a mixture of soldiers, scientists, and specialists, represented the peak of human achievement. Each of them had volunteered, knowing they might never return. Barrier in range, Diana reported from the captain's chair, ready to attempt penetration. Maya nodded. Proceed, Captain. The Prometheus's engines roared to life, primitive by Viridian standards, but powerful in their own right. They had discovered that the quarantine barrier, designed to stop advanced technology, had no defense against the brute force approach of human engineering. The ship crashed through like a stone through a soap bubble. They were free. The first Viridian ship they encountered was a scout vessel, its crystalline hull gleaming with internal light. Maya watched as the alien craft approached cautiously, its sensors probably confused by the Prometheus's relatively primitive signature. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Raj Sharma announced. "Using is that radio waves." "The message we received came from Commander Sarah Chen," Maya replied. "A hybrid. She would know how to communicate with us. Put it through." The voice that filled the bridge was clear and strong, speaking perfect English. "Earth vessel, this is Commander Chen of the Viridian Coalition. I admit I wasn't certain you would come." Maya stepped forward. "Commander Chen, this is General Maya Santos of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your message. We're here to help." She paused, then added with a slight smile, "Though we might need some updates on what we've missed in the past 2 centuries." There was a moment of silence, then what sounded like a laugh. "General Santos, I believe you and your people are about to give the galaxy several updates of your own." As the 2 ships moved into formation, Maya thought about the irony of their situation. The Viridians had quarantined humanity to protect the galaxy from their dangerous nature. Now that same nature might be the galaxy's best hope for survival. "Take us to your command center, Commander Chen," Maya ordered. "It's time to show the Void Hunters what happens when you back a Deathworld species into a corner." The Prometheus surged forward, its hull gleaming with the reflected light of distant stars. Humanity was returning to the galaxy, not as conquerors or refugees, but as defenders. The Void Hunters had adapted to fight beings of energy and light. They weren't ready for beings of blood and steel. Dr. James Rodriguez stood in the massive crystalline training chamber of the Viridian flagship, surrounded by floating orbs of pure energy. Viridian warriors in their natural form. He held up a simple lead bullet between his thumb and forefinger, its surface gleaming under the ambient light. "This," he announced to his bewildered audience, "is why the Void Hunters are going to lose." The Viridian warriors pulsed with confusion, their energy forms shifting through various shades of uncertainty. Admiral Thex's voice emerged from the closest orb. "Doctor, we have seen your projectile weapons. While impressive, the Void Hunter's adaptive armor is designed to counter energy weapons," James interrupted, grinning. "It disperses heat, reflects light, and absorbs various forms of radiation. But this," he tossed the bullet up and caught it, "this is just a piece of metal, accelerated to hypersonic speeds. No energy signature to adapt to. No complex technology to counter. Just good old-fashioned kinetic force." On the other side of the chamber, Captain Diana Patel was demonstrating human combat tactics to another group of Viridians. Her prosthetic leg whirred smoothly as she moved through a series of martial arts forms. "Your energy manipulation abilities are incredible," she explained, "but you're too dependent on them. The Void Hunters expect you to fight like beings of pure energy, so don't." She gestured to the holographic display showing Void Hunter attack patterns. "They predict your movements because you always choose the most efficient path. Humans." She suddenly rolled to the side, coming up in an unexpected position. "We thrive on inefficiency. We're messy, unpredictable. That's our strength." In the ship's engineering bay, the integration of human and Viridian technology was producing remarkable results. Chief Engineer Yuki Tanaka worked alongside Viridian energy sculptors, combining primitive human ballistics with advanced quantum technologies. The result was something entirely new: hybrid weapons that looked like ancient human firearms, but fired bullets surrounded by controlled quantum fields. "The field collapses on impact," Yuki explained to the fascinated Viridians, turning the kinetic energy of the bullet into a localized quantum disruption. "Their armor adapts to one or the other, but not both simultaneously. It's like trying to be fireproof and bulletproof at the same time, spread too thin to be effective against either." Commander Sarah Chen watched these interactions from the command center, her hybrid nature giving her a unique appreciation for what she was seeing. The Viridians were beings of pure energy, evolved to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Humans were creatures of flesh and bone, evolved to survive against all odds. Apart, each had their weaknesses. Together, they were becoming something unprecedented. Void Hunter ships detected. The alert echoed through the ship in both English and the musical tones of Viridian language. 3 vessels approaching the Centauri defense line. Sarah's orders rang out clear and sharp. "Battle stations. Time to test our new tactics." The ensuing battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Viridian warriors, traditionally fighting in elegant geometric formations, now moved in chaotic patterns learned from human martial artists. Their energy attacks were supplemented by salvos of quantum-enhanced bullets from human ships, overwhelming the Void Hunters' adaptive defenses. The Hunters, accustomed to fighting a predictable enemy, found themselves faced with an opponent that defied prediction. When they adapted to energy attacks, they were hit with kinetic weapons. When they reinforced against physical impacts, they were struck by focused quantum beams. Every time they evolved a new defense, the Human-Viridian alliance had already shifted to a new form of attack. For the first time since the war began, the Void Hunters retreated in disarray. In the aftermath, Sarah found Admiral Thex observing the human crew as they celebrated their victory. His energy form pulsed with thoughtful colors. "We thought their primitive nature made them dangerous," he mused. "We never considered that it made them brilliant." Sarah watched as Diana Patel taught a group of Viridian warriors a human victory dance, their energy forms awkwardly but enthusiastically mimicking her movements. "They don't overcome obstacles by becoming perfect," she replied. "They overcome them by embracing their imperfections, turning weaknesses into strengths." Perhaps, Thex's form brightened, "that is a lesson we needed to learn." The victory was small, 3 ships out of the thousands in the Void Hunter fleet, but it was something that had never happened before. The Hunters had finally met an enemy they couldn't simply adapt to, because that enemy refused to fight according to any predictable pattern. As Sarah watched humans and Viridians working together, she realized they weren't just fighting a war. They were evolving, not through biological adaptation or technological advancement, but through the simple human trait of refusing to accept limitations. The Void Hunters had awakened something far more dangerous than humanity's capacity for violence. They had awakened humanity's capacity for innovation, their ability to take 2 incompatible things and forge them into something new. And this was just the beginning. General Maya Santos stood before the combined Human-Viridian War Council, her holographic form projected into the crystalline chamber from the Prometheus. The room hummed with tension as she outlined their most ambitious plan yet. "The Void Hunters are used to fighting an enemy that thinks like them. Tactical, predictable, efficient, she said, manipulating the strategic display with practiced ease. So we're going to show them how Earth fought wars. Not with perfect precision, but with controlled chaos. The battle map showed the Void Hunters' main fleet, a massive collection of biomechanical ships that had adapted to every Viridian defense, but they had never faced what was coming. Captain Diana Patel's voice carried across the chamber from her position aboard the modified Viridian cruiser Starcutter. We've confirmed it. The Void Hunters operate on a hive mind system. They share information instantly, adapt collectively, and coordinate perfectly. She smiled, the expression fierce. That's their weakness. Dr. James Rodriguez stepped forward, his hands dancing over the holographic controls. Their neural network is both their greatest strength and their critical vulnerability. They adapt quickly because they think as one. But what happens to a hive mind when it receives thousands of contradictory signals simultaneously? The plan was audacious, combining human military doctrine with Viridian technology in ways neither species had imagined possible. Small teams of human soldiers, equipped with hybrid weapons and working alongside Viridian energy warriors, would strike multiple targets simultaneously. Each team would use different tactics, different weapons, different strategies. The hunters won't know what to adapt to first, Maya explained. While they're trying to counter one threat, 3 more will hit them from unexpected angles. We're not trying to overpower their adaptation. We're going to overwhelm it. Commander Sarah Chen watched from her position near Admiral Thex, seeing the mix of excitement and uncertainty in the Viridian energy patterns around her. The plan went against everything their species believed in: precision, efficiency, predictability. But they had seen enough human victories to trust in controlled chaos. The operation began 3 days later. Hundreds of small ships, each carrying mixed human Viridian crews, emerged from quantum space around the Hunter fleet. Each vessel attacked differently. Some used pure kinetic weapons, others quantum-enhanced projectiles, while others employed hybrid energy weapons that defied conventional physics. On the bridge of the Starcutter, Diana coordinated the assault teams. Remember your training, she broadcast to all channels. Be unpredictable. Be human. The Void Hunters' response was immediate but confused. Their adaptive armor shifted constantly, trying to counter multiple threats simultaneously. When they strengthened against physical impacts, energy beams struck. When they adapted to energy weapons, kinetic rounds tore through their hulls. Each successful adaptation left them vulnerable to a dozen other attacks. In the command center, Dr. Rodriguez monitored the Hunter neural network through specially designed sensors. It's working, he called out. Their hive mind is showing signs of strain. They can't process all the contradictory data. The battle raged across space, a testament to the impossible partnership between humanity's controlled chaos and Viridian precision. Human soldiers fought alongside beings of pure energy, their different natures combining into something the galaxy had never seen before. Sarah led a strike team deep into the heart of the Hunter fleet, her hybrid nature allowing her to coordinate between human and Viridian tactics seamlessly. They targeted command nodes, communication hubs, anything that helped maintain the Hunter's neural network. Look at their formation, she called to her team as they approached a massive Hunter vessel. They're starting to break pattern. The hive mind is fragmenting. The Hunter ships, for the first time, began to move erratically. Some stopped responding entirely, while others fired at random targets. The perfect coordination that had made them unstoppable was unraveling in the face of human unpredictability. Maya watched from the Prometheus as the battle turned. "This is humanity's gift to the galaxy," she murmured. "Not our strength or our technology, but our chaos. Our beautiful, unpredictable chaos." The Void Hunters had evolved to counter any single threat, to adapt to any consistent pattern. But humanity had spent its entire existence adapting to a world that never stopped trying to kill them. They didn't fight with perfect efficiency. They fought with innovation, desperation, and the unbridled creativity that came from refusing to accept defeat. As the hunter fleet began to scatter, Admiral Thex's energy form pulsed with amazement. "We thought we were protecting the galaxy by quarantining humanity," he said to Sarah. "We never realized we were denying it exactly what it needed most." The battle wasn't over. The Void Hunters still controlled vast territories, and their remaining ships were already beginning to adapt to this defeat. But something fundamental had changed. The Hunters had become the hunted, and their perfect adaptation had met its match in human imperfection. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth had been called a death world, not because it bred killers, but because it bred survivors who never stopped finding new ways to overcome the impossible. The quantum display in the Prometheus's command center showed the remains of the once mighty Void Hunter fleet, scattered, fragmented, but still dangerous. Like a wounded predator, they had retreated to their last stronghold, a massive space station that pulsed with dark energy at the edge of Viridian space. General Maya Santos studied the tactical overlay, her expression grim. "They're adapting again," she announced to the assembled human Viridian command staff. "Our chaos tactics bought us victory in open combat, but they're learning. Their hive mind is evolving, becoming more human." Dr. James Rodriguez nodded, his fingers dancing over the sensor readings. "They're introducing randomness into their own systems, trying to beat us at our own game." He looked up, a glint in his eye. "But they're missing something crucial about humanity. We don't just embrace chaos," Captain Diana Patel finished, stepping forward with her prosthetic leg whirring softly. "We master it." The final battle plan was perhaps the most human strategy ever conceived in the history of galactic warfare. While the Void Hunters had learned to be unpredictable, humans had millennia of experience turning chaos into victory. Every failed experiment, every near-extinction event, every catastrophe survived had taught them one crucial lesson. True adaptation wasn't about becoming perfect, but about turning imperfection into strength. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her hybrid vessel, a ship that embodied the union of human and Viridian innovation. Around her, energy beings worked alongside humans, their different natures no longer a barrier, but a symphony of complementary strengths. "All ships, execute Operation Deadworld." Maya's voice came through clear and strong. "Show them what humanity learned from Earth." The attack began not with a bang, but with silence. Hundreds of ships, their engines cold, drifted toward the Hunter stronghold like debris. Inside each vessel, humans and Viridians waited in perfect stillness, a trick learned from Earth's deep-sea predators. The Hunters, expecting chaos, found nothing to adapt to. Their sensors, tuned to detect energy signatures and erratic movements, struggled to track the dead-appearing ships. When they finally recognized the threat, it was too late. Now, Sarah's command triggered an explosion of coordinated activity. Ships burst to life, but each in a different way. Some unleashed salvos of quantum-enhanced kinetic weapons. Others projected Viridian energy fields modified by human electromagnetic principles. Still others rammed directly into Hunter vessels, their hulls reinforced by technologies that existed in the space between human and Viridian science. Diana's voice crackled over the command channel. "They're splitting focus. The hive mind can't process this many variations of order and chaos simultaneously." The Hunter station's defenses flickered, trying to adapt to attacks that followed neither pure logic nor pure chaos. Every time they developed a counter to one approach, they left themselves vulnerable to three others. Their attempt to mimic human unpredictability had left them caught between two modes of thought, unable to fully commit to either. "That's the true lesson of Earth," Maya broadcast to all channels as the battle reached its peak. "Not just how to survive chaos, but how to forge it into purpose. How to make art from disorder and strength from adversity." The station's central core began to destabilize as human Viridian hybrid weapons struck from all angles. The Hunter's neural network, overwhelmed by the impossible task of adapting to both order and chaos simultaneously, started to collapse. Sarah led the final assault team into the heart of the station, her hybrid nature allowing her to navigate both the physical and energy barriers. She carried with her humanity's ultimate weapon against the hunters, not a gun or bomb, but a virus. Not a digital or biological weapon, but something in between, created by humans who understood machines and Viridians who understood energy. A gift from Earth, she whispered as she uploaded it into the hunters' central network. Adaptation itself turned against the adapters. The virus spread through the hunter collective like wildfire, using their own adaptive nature against them. Every attempt to fight it caused it to evolve in new ways, following patterns born from 4 billion years of Earth's relentless evolutionary forge. The station's lights flickered and died. Across Viridian space, the remaining hunter ships went dark, their perfect coordination shattered by an enemy they couldn't adapt to because it was adaptation itself. In the aftermath, as human and Viridian ships conducted rescue operations, Admiral Thex's energy form pulsed with colors Sarah had never seen before, wonder mixed with humility. "We thought we were protecting the galaxy by quarantining humanity," he said. "In our pursuit of perfection, we forgot that the universe itself was born from chaos." Perhaps, his form shifted thoughtfully, perhaps it's time for the galaxy to remember that lesson. Maya stood in the council chamber weeks later, but this time not as a supplicant or ally, but as an equal. The Viridian coalition had voted unanimously to end Earth's quarantine. Humanity doesn't just survive adversity, she told the assembled representatives of 100 worlds. We learn from it. We grow stronger not by becoming perfect, but by learning to turn our imperfections into advantages. That's what Earth taught us, and that's what we offer to the galaxy. Not perfection, but the endless potential of adaptation itself. As the council session ended, Sarah watched humans and Viridians filing out together, already planning new innovations, new combinations of their different approaches to existence. The Void Hunters had sought to conquer through perfect adaptation, never understanding that true adaptation came not from becoming the perfect predator, but from learning to turn every failure into a step toward success. Earth was no longer a quarantined world, but a symbol of hope, a reminder that in a universe of endless challenges, victory belonged not to the strongest or most advanced, but to those who never stopped learning new ways to overcome the impossible. The age of isolation was over. The age of adaptation had begun.